Tonight, the guides will explain how you must learn to love or else. You must learn to love or else. The takeaway from this week's episode is you can't see the truth until you return to love. Here's what this will do for you. You will be reminded of the truth and love you brought with you from your before life. Here's what I want you to do with this information. Return to the love you brought with you so you can see the truth in everything and play your part in the healing for you and everyone else. How it works. I'm just reading excerpts from Linda's Weekly Guided Insights. If you want to get these insights, go to my website, lindadeer.com, and you'll see Linda's Weekly Guided Insights at the very top of the pages. You can click there and sign up for free. How it works. If you let everything you hear affect you in a negative way, it will continue to steer you into fear as you become more and more unfocused. Taking things personally will make everything feel like a threat, steering you farther and farther away from love. You came into this life with enough love and truth to heal the entire planet. However, you were seriously underestimated as a pure source of that love. The love you brought with you from the before life. Now you must recall and reclaim that love and truth you brought with you, or else this world will suffer more than ever before. There really is no choice anymore, people. Okay, Ray. So Ray.
We have a good comment.
Yeah, we have a comment on this post. Ray's going to read it.
From Viola in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands.
Yes, you go ahead.
Careful. There we go.
There you go, Ray.
All right, Viola says, hi, Ray and Linda. There's one thing that stands out to me in this insight, and I hope if you and the guides can explain more about it. I have many questions on the subject. In the sentence in bold, but soon you start hiding from the truth and love became unfocused. How can it happen that we all started doing this hiding and unfocusing as a child? Is this something that we are doing, have been doing for ages? Is it something the children from the future will learn not to do? Is it something we, the people who are aware of this, will teach our children and grandchildren how to stay in truth and love? Why can't children stay in truth and love in the focused mode? Will this be possible in the future? Would this be something that we, your followers, can make people aware of, or is it not the time? I wish we could spread love and truth and this knowledge like a virus. Ha ha ha. Imagine the newspaper saying, please go out and hug and cuddle each other as much as possible. This will help to spread truth and love and gives you and everybody else a touch of life with love to the max and guaranteed doses of free will. Very good. Linda said, your questions to the guides are great, Viola. Be sure and watch this video from tonight's live event of this insight to see what the guides said in answer to your numerous questions. Well, we should go back and look at each one individually.
Okay, so what we're going to do tonight, because of this amazing comment that Viola took the real effort and thought to compose, we're going to do exactly what she asked us to do. We're going to have, instead of us talk about it, which is usually what we do regarding the insight, this is specific questions to the guides that Viola has. When you guys leave comments on these insights, okay, we bring them up in these sessions, these live events, and the guides you're able to have the guides answer you, all right? And that's what we're going to do with Viola tonight. They're going to get in there and answer her. Instead of us talking about it, you're going to get it right from the source. All right. So Ray's going to read these off from the beginning all the way through chronologically to her last question to the guides, and
Okay.
they're going to answer it. All right.
All right, here we go. Her first question. Well, the first thing was first sentence in the insight was, but soon you started hiding from the truth and love became unfocused. So her first question was, how can it happen that we all started doing this, hiding and unfocusing as a child?
Here they go.
We come in truth and love. As a child, you arrive here in pure love and truth. You come in without any judgment or bias. Once a child experiences the first time someone tells them no, or spanks them, or threatens them in any way, they withdraw from the truth. Up until that time, they lived by love and truth. Everything was okay to do, and a child does it and has experiences that form their beliefs. If they approach something inquisitively, they check it out. They crawl over across the room and experience it without judgment. Now, if they touch something that burned their fingers, they now have a judgment about that experience and choose not to do it again. Everything was carried out in a sense of truth. Soon, authority figures like parents, teachers, family members, and even friends begin telling that child their truths. Where did they come from? They came from their parents and authority figures. Now the child is confused. What is true and what is not true? This is when they start to hide from their own truth. Doubt enters their life for the first time.
That's right. That's right. That's where all of us were challenged and handled it in different ways. And the way that each one of us handled it carried out into our lives, into our adult lives, into our whole lives, until we realized, until we stopped and paused and took a look at what really happened back there. By the way, my training takes you back there, and I identify through your journal writings what that is, what's hanging you up, what that is that's in your way that you confused with what the truth really is, rather than what's acceptable, instead of, doing what keeps you out of hot water, keeps you out of trouble, instead of just boldly being who you are and moving past those people that can't handle the real you. Ray, what's the next one?
Okay, the second question was number 2. Oh, is this something that children, us, have
Right.
been doing for ages? And is it something the children of the future will not do?
Okay, now what does she mean by that? What is it that she
Withdraw, hiding from the truth.
is hiding from the truth? Okay.
So,
We don't come in doing that.
no.
We come in absolutely open, loving everyone, expressing ourselves fully until the people in this world where we came from versus this world, until the people in this world, your family, your teachers, your peers, your friends, your society, everybody starts to, what's the right word for this? Starts to,
Tell you what to believe.
yeah, tell you what to believe. I mean, starts
What
to,
you can't believe. That's even worse.
well, they start to cast their biases upon you.
Right.
And you start to think over here, you start to feel like, what's wrong with me? Instead of going, what's wrong with them?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really what guided's all about. I had people tell me throughout my life, Linda, you don't get it. You'll if you read Guided, you'll see how this came up time and time again. And I learned to keep my guidance to myself because I knew the people out there didn't get it. They weren't getting it at all because they were too invested in what they believed was true and trying to push that off onto me. Okay, forcing that onto me, like you. I know they did that with you too. They did that with every kid. It's really flawed, you guys. Okay, go ahead, Ray.
Okay. So the next 2 questions are kind of tied together.
Okay.
Is this something that we have been doing for ages, this cycle? Okay.
That humans have been doing for ages.
Right. And is it something that the children in the future will not do?
Are we at a breaking point? Let me see. Are we finally at a breaking point where consciousness is greater than the old paradigm? That structure that continues to deliver the same messages, the same, and produce the same problems. Are we finally able to be conscious enough as humans, new people coming in, to forgive them for their short-sightedness? And like I did, I stayed conscious even though everyone around me was brain dead, unconscious. I mean, seriously dysfunctional. Okay. It was my only choice to get through that childhood. That's why I know how this works. All right. So yeah.
Is this something that we've been doing for ages, and will the children of the future not do it?
Right. Are we at a point where we're going to shift?
Right. Yes, children have been doing it forever. And the children of the future will also do it unless the parents change their level of consciousness. You see, it's a cycle of learning from people who were taught from the perspective of having to be right. Your parents tried to teach you the right things, but whose right things? You even hear people say, well, my parents taught me the right things when I was young, when they most likely taught you the things they were taught, which were not the right things. So it's a cycle that's hard to escape from until a higher level of consciousness takes over society. The children coming up will still be hiding from the truth.
Well, they're hiding from you. They're hiding from the parents, and they're hiding from society. They're hiding from you because it's too harsh for them. It's too hard for them, and they can't articulate what they know, what they came in with.
Right.
They don't know. They're too young. Nobody can articulate it. Even I could not articulate it when I talk about it in the early part of my life. I just kept it to myself.
Yeah, but when a child, a young child, keeps it to themselves, it builds up, and they can't express themselves. They're really not big talkers yet.
That's what happens.
They get frustrated, and they start to do what? They start to act out.
Oh, yeah.
So they have a big name for that.
Brat.
What else?
Terrible twos.
The terrible twos. So most kids, when they become around two, they start to get this urge to resist what they're hearing, resist what they're being told to do. The terrible twos. There's nothing wrong with them.
Well, that's their only way of defending who they are.
Right.
Okay. And instead of letting this world just crush them. Okay. That doesn't work. I always talk about the two worlds, you guys. You come in from somewhere. You came in from a before life from somewhere. You didn't just like show up out of thin air. You came from somewhere. And then before you came here, there was this whole thing going on in this world, already playing out, ready to take you on, ready to take this new person on. Okay. And their intention was to do the best job they could as a parent. They really wanted to, be the best parent and give you the best chances. But really, people take it too far. They don't ever take the time to know who that new person is. All right. And that's where you get lost along the way. When you read Guided, any of you have not read my flagship book, my award-winning book, Guided, listen to it or read it. I did it in audiobook format. You'll learn so much about this. Okay. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah. The terrible twos is something that all children go through, and they treat it like a disease.
Yeah. Time.
Okay. We have the next question. Is it something that the people who are aware of this can teach their children and grandchildren? All right.
Okay. So what Viola's saying is people who are conscious in this world, do they have the capacity to say that
teach their children and their grandchildren
at a higher level where when the child comes in, instead of forcing all the things that you think is right for them, you don't do that. You let that child show itself. You let yourself learn who this new person is that just arrived. Okay. Who is this? Why did they show up? What's their purpose in this life? What's my part in their life? How can I be of assistance to them? Not be the best parent. That's putting pressure on you. That's unrealistic. How can I be the best parent in terms of getting to know this new person and guide that instead of control that? That's not the answer. Okay, let's let the guides talk.
As a parent, you will have more success teaching your grandchildren because you are at that stage of your life when you start to become a seeker of knowledge, of consciousness, of self-realization, until you can put what you have realized into words, you cannot teach it. So you've missed the generation right under you, but have a chance with the grandchildren.
Okay, and the key word here was realize. When you're a grandparent, at that point, you're not under the pressure of the burden, the responsibility, the enormous responsibility of being the best parent for that child, that new child that came in. The pressure is unbelievable, as well as working and making money and providing for the family and all the pressure that goes with it. Then the relationship with your mate and keeping the marriage stable while you're raising these kids. It's enormous pressure. Okay. And you don't even know yet who you are. You retreated long ago when this pressure in this world was imposed on you.
Right.
So you need to heal something that you haven't had a chance to even do. Okay, I'm going to bring something up.
That's how you miss teaching your kids.
I've got to bring this up in terms of, I've got this system that I do training for. All right. And you guys have to, I cannot avoid this. This book right here, My Journal Writing, it is a book of journal entries that you put into here. You spend about 15 minutes a day to put in your journal entries about what was unusual or out of the ordinary that day. You write that in here. And then you talk about how it made you feel. And then you realize what this is really telling you. And you write down what you realize and the action you're going to take. Instead of reading your children bedtime stories every night, that's the same thing all the time. It's just regurgitating the same thing that you were fed as a kid. Okay, it's okay. But this really gets some things done here. This acknowledges your child. Do it for yourself for sure. If you don't know how to do this for yourself, you won't be able to do it with your child. So you've got to step it up. You've got to do this for yourself first. So at night, when it's bedtime, you take 15 minutes with your child as well as 15 minutes with yourself. And you go, okay, Mikey, we're going to write about what was unusual and out of the ordinary today. I'm going to write down what was unusual or out of the ordinary for me. And I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to go about it this way. Did what was unusual or out of the ordinary? Was it guidance I got today? It just came through and I didn't even expect it. It was amazing. Was it a dream I had that I don't understand? Write it down. Was it when I was walking home from school or when you were taking a walk, walking your dog? Okay. Was it when you were driving in the car alone? Was it when you were in the shower? Okay, or when your child was taking a shower or a bath? Was it usually around water? All kinds of things come through that you would normally miss. But now you're going to learn how to remember it. You're going to write it down and then flesh it out with these four qualifying questions. This is a project you do with your children. And you're not the one that has to be right. You're not the one that has to know everything. You're not the parent with the burden on you. You are in an exploratory session with your child as you both explore what happened that day. This book is called My Journal Writing, Your Roadmap to Consciousness. How are you going to get your child conscious? By you doing your own consciousness training, your own inner work, okay? And bring them along with you while you do this with them. I'll tell you something. You're going to learn more about yourself and your kid than anything you could have imposed on them, okay? Because that's not working, you guys. That's not the high road. But this is. This is a journey you take with your kid. This is amazing. Now, this book, part 2, is My Guided Journey. This takes you back to the beginning of your life where you got knocked off your path. All right. This book right here, once you start writing and doing your journal writing, you start to see a pattern develop. You go back and you start to heal where the pattern keeps showing up, you start to identify where that is, chapter 1 through 18 in part 2. And we did a video for each one of these chapters. You guys have it all here, all right? But this is how you go about raising the bar with your kids. I know it's hard. I really know it's hard when you have kids. But if you, instead of just telling them stories every night, instead of just storytelling, do something meaningful with them, because they really need the extra oomph for the world that they're in. Okay, Ray.
Yeah, I think you answered the next question. Why can't children stay in the truth and love?
This is the answer.
Right.
You involve them and do it with them so they can watch you grow and fumble and learn and be amazed and catch yourself, off guard. And when you see it on the pages and go, oh my God. And then as they do the same thing. And then when you wind up with a month's worth of journal entries, both of you and your child, you go back, let's take a walk back about a month ago. And let's just breeze through what came through. And let's see how it aligns with our lives right now. What is it that all this was showing us that's pointing us true north that we would have missed had we not written it down and shared it? Your kid will be so impressed with you. I'm telling you. That these journals are the companion journals to Guided. I wrote these because of the huge amount of requests I got from my fans wanting to know how I did it. This is how I did it. I started doing this for myself when I was 7 years old. Quietly, covertly, okay? Secretively. And this is why I know how well this works, all right?
So what you're trying to do with the journals and the books and working with your children is you're not, like the title today was Learn to Love or Else, right?
Right.
It should be Learn to Relove or relearn to love or else. Because you can't heal it until you go back to the beginning, to where you got knocked off course.
Let's let the guides talk about that, Ray.
When you consider that there is not a whole lot of age difference between most parents and their children, you really didn't have enough time for you to self-realize before grandkids
Right.
showed up.
Right.
That's why grandparents and grandkids get along so well, and the parents feel trapped in the middle.
Right. Yep. You're at a big disadvantage as a parent. So how do you overcome that common block,
Yeah.
that common failure that most parents have? How do you do it? Do you just become friends with your kid? I've heard people say, I'm really good friends with my kid. Well, that's okay if your kid is getting what your kid needs, okay? But not at the expense of just, I'll just be friends with them and I don't have to do any work. I've seen a lot of that. That's not what this is, you guys. This is about getting in there and learning about your lives together, okay? And your child learns more about you that way, and you will definitely learn more about them. They will express themselves in ways you never, ever, 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 ever would have seen. So,
Because when these kids first start resisting what they're being told, what they're told to learn, that is when they become withdrawn. And they're not the terrible twos anymore. They're the terrible teens.
well, yes. And you don't need to, it's not about being on their side. It's about respecting them as a new person. as a person that came in that has something to offer. After all, why are they here? They came here to make their own contribution. So what is it? Is it you deciding what that's going to be? Is it you deciding how their life is going to go? You're going to go to college. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Okay. So we know that that's not the answer, but this is the answer. When you involve them and you're as candid with them so that they can be candid with you. Now you got something here with your kid. All right. Okay.
You know, rather than when your teenager comes to you and with orange hair, okay?
Yeah.
Rather than chastising them for that and tell them that they're wrong to do that, maybe you should go out and make your hair orange and have the same experience. And then you'll look at it differently.
That's a possibility. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Was that the end of the questions?
Yes.
Okay, Ray. I'm going to move on and do a few announcements here. Next Tuesday, November 3rd, for episode number 255 with me, Ray, and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time in Linda's Weekly Guided Insights. My spirit guides will be talking about the truth about the truth. What is the truth? You hear it talked about all the time, but do you really know what it is? How do you know? How do you know it when you encounter it? A person's truth is rarely found through their own research. Rather, they believe the truth to be an agreement. Most people only believe in the truth that they agree with ahead of time. Sometimes, or someone says something to you and you either resonate with it or not. You may fully agree with it, discount it vehemently, or stop and wonder about it before you react. During the time you are wondering about it is the time to do your research. Okay, I want to bring this up again. That's where writing in your journal for 15 minutes a day, when you come across something where you're not sure what it is, what you're really confused about it, or you really want to know more about it, write it in here and flush it out. Write it down. How did it make you feel? That's the key. That's the key every time. From that piece of information you get about what you wrote down, how it made you feel, you're instantly going to have a realization. You can't help it. By the way, that's consciousness, your roadmap to consciousness. And from that, you can take action. You can take action that you never could have taken before had you not gone through those four qualifying questions. All right. Okay, this Saturday, October 31st at 1 p.m. Pacific time is our webinar, The Light Beings Post-Election Chaos. Go to lindadeer.com right there. Click on live events and webinars to watch the video trailer and sign up. All right. And this Thursday, October 29th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, you can join us on our Facebook private group, Ask the Universal Channel. The teachers of Ask the Universal Channel will be performing the following. Joy will ask her guides to describe how people doing their strange rituals can be a source of connection. Veronica will ask her spirit guides to explain why the song Pennies from Heaven came through as an answer to a question this week. And Kathy's guides said that the topic will be about you have only just begun. It's interesting how these songs are coming through. That's another way that guidance reaches you, you guys. Don't blow that stuff off. Get your journal out and write those unusual and out of the ordinary occurrences down. You're going to find out what they're telling you, but you won't if you don't take that 15 minutes to flesh it out. It's not nonsense. And this event will be hosted by Linda Deer and Ray Holly. Okay, and we're going to close the session now with a closing message from the guides about tonight's session. You must learn to love or else. If my work helps you in any way, please share this video. Tell your friends about my work. Go to lindadeer.com. Have them go to lindadeer.com. Everything's right there. Okay. And here they go.
A good way to learn about something is to study its opposite. How do you know you are living in truth and love? You do it by studying each one's opposite. For love, it would be hate. For truth, it would be lies. So, if you study the hate in the world, you will want to live the opposite. By understanding the opposites, it becomes clear if you are living in love or not. Same way with lies. Study the lies you hear, the things you hear that make you feel bad, that make you feel that that is just wrong and something you could never live with. Then go back to the opposite, the truth, and see the difference in how you feel. The truth and love are both feelings. You become so good at experiencing love or truth that soon the lies and the hate will become something you automatically avoid in your life.
Okay. I want to say one thing about this. Truth and love come from feelings. Hate and lies comes from emotions. Next week, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about emotional energy and how it's distorting things. So people in this world largely come from emotional energy. I mean, you do see people come from feelings and clarity. You do see it, but mostly you see it from emotions, division, fighting. I'm right and you're wrong. My God's better than your God. All kinds of competitiveness, even sports. That's a big one. My team's better than your team, and people fight with each other. Okay, so that's all emotion. It's really just a great big messy waste of time. Feelings many times catch you off guard. You're like, wow, I didn't expect that. Because most of the time you're absorbed with what's going on in the outer world, filled with emotion. Okay. Emotion would be judgment, all kinds of stuff that's thrown at you. That's all emotional stuff. But feelings, that's when you catch yourself, you have the aha moment. You go, oh, I get it now. That's the realizations, you guys. That's what happens when you use your journal and you spend the 15 minutes a day to get into even write down where you had emotions, where you did have emotions, where you got derailed, you got off track. So you can catch yourself in the future. It's good to write it down. That's the only way you're going to turn it around. All right. Okay. We'll see you guys this weekend webinar. We'll
Yep.
see you Thursday. Ask the Universal Channel Facebook group. And then we'll see you next Tuesday right here.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.